Hello, this is Reverend Don Lewis coming to you from beautiful Florida. And today our question comes to us from Danlaeus X. And Danlaeus X has a question about a situation that they have encountered, or rather that their friend has encountered. And Danlaeus X tells us that they have a friend who has never been introduced to the spiritual realm, although exactly what is meant by this is not elaborated upon. So I would assume it would mean what it would appear to mean. Danlaeus X tells us that this friend was watching something about the spiritual realm but does not elaborate. And that while watching this, the friend experienced paranoia and pain on the left side of their body. And Danlaeus X would like to know my take on this. And of course, the first thing to be said is that there are so many possible variables in this that a blanket answer is not really possible without knowing more about the situation. It's also worth pointing out that the friend might want to consider seeing a doctor if this is something that recurs, because it could also be a physical as well as a spiritual thing. But, assuming it has not recurred, I would interpret it as being spiritual. And why would someone who is watching something about the spiritual realm feel paranoia or pain on the left side of their body? Well, the question here in part is what were they watching? But the answer, regardless of what they were watching, is that it touched something in their own spirituality in a way that provoked these reactions. And paranoia is kind of obvious for what it is. It triggered a fear response. And the pain on the left side of the body says that this has something to do with their own spirituality as opposed to a physical situation which would be expected to show up on the right side of the body. So I would say that what happened is that they have touched upon a blockage, and seeing whatever program this was about the spiritual realm brought this forward for them. Now, if they were on a spiritual path and I were speaking to them, which I don't know that I am because I don't know that they watched the vlog, but perhaps Danlaeus can relay the idea, I would say that they need to then work on this blockage. The blockage, I would assume, is probably past life in nature, and has to do with fear of spirituality, particularly in whatever way it was being portrayed in this program. And the simplest and easiest thing that they can do is write down all of the emotions that come to them in terms of the feelings they experienced in watching this program, and follow these emotions just as far as they can, in terms of what they were feeling, why they might have been feeling it, what associations there are, if there are any memories, etc., and write it all down. And write it down and come back to it perhaps a few hours later or the following day and look at it again. And look at those parts of it which would be things that you would not want to be bound by, the aspects that are fear or paranoia, etc., but also pay attention to everything that's there, because you may find things that you would never have imagined that you were associating with this subject. And those things that are binding you, that are causing fear, write them on another piece of paper and do a burning to send them away. And if you don't know how to do a burning, it's in, I believe, Chapter 2 of First Degree. Very, very simple. And the whole idea of the burning, as well as most spells that use external components, is that it bypasses the conscious mind and interacts directly with the spirit. And this can be very important for some people and less important for others, but it can be a very good technique. And I have found burning to be a very powerful, very effective technique, particularly for people who do not necessarily have the level of experience for heavy meditation or things like soul retrieval. But it's still a very effective technique, and that is what I would recommend to the friend of Danlaeus X. And other things that they could do include meditation, include going to an energy worker to see if they could find the blockage and simply eliminate it energetically, or other kinds of shadow work. Any of these things could be helpful, but this is what I think they're experiencing, that this program has brought up a blockage in their energetic system, and they need to deal with it. So that would be my thought on that. And once again, we've come to the end of a week of vlogs, and this week we have the following vlogs to consider for viewers' favorite question. And the first one is, how would we know, from Angeline de Villiers? The second is, and if we don't, from Afterfove. The third is A Little More Karma from Angelo. And, of course, today is Spiritual Realm from Danlaeus X. Please let me know which was your favorite. You can vote in the comments section at Magic TV, on Facebook pages where the vlog appears, or by email to donlewishp@aol.com. And I hope you've enjoyed this week's vlogs, and until next time, may you blessed be. The Tarot of Hecate. My 100-card tarot deck 30 years in the making, finally available to you from witchschoolstore.com. Check out a copy today.